Hello, everyone. It's Friday. I know, time flies. And I was a few minutes late, which I hope you guys survive. It's crazy as time just flies by these days. Genuinely, I think there's too few hours in the day, or we need an extra bonus day just to make up for it. I have my things lined up as well. So we do have a few projects we can work on. I have three, technically, I have four whips. But the fourth whip we cannot work on because I probably need to frog it first and wind it back up and stuff like that. So that is a project for maybe tomorrow. I was technically hoping to maybe finish off my written it beanie before starting on a different project because that is so close to being finished. So that would actually be rather nice to finish up that one. Yeah. Mhm. So we are just gonna prep a few things here. It is still a little bit like I can't pre-prep a lot of things for these lives. I hoped I had everything ready and set up to run from my stream software today, but alas, no. We are still tiddly taddly delayed on that, and that's also a project for tomorrow that I would like to spend some time looking into. So basically, my Saturday is going to be a lot of stuff. Work on a lot of stuff. Good afternoon, hello, wonderful to have you here with us today. So let's see, I am almost there. So I'm missing like at best maybe I don't know a half an inch, um, and then it's time to close it down. This is the yarn I still have left. I still feel sort of confident there might be enough yarn for another one, not double stranded, but single stranded, and maybe not with a folded brim. But that's basically where we're currently at for my beanie. And as I said, I'm missing just half an inch. So maybe what I should consider is saying, hey, if we finish up this beanie, then it's kind of like a project done. That would be really, really nice. Alternatively, I have to do it later today. I could do that too, but that's gonna be like tonight. That is an option. I still haven't started sewing together my shrug just because it's sewing, and I'm still kind of like postponing it. And of course, we still have. So I have this sort of project back here where I have the yarns for the heart collectors. So that is the last option we have. So I don't know what we are to work on today, but we are going to do something. Good morning, Megan. Wonderful to see you here. I hope you're having a great day. Also, I did find my reserve spindle just in case we decided to work on the hat collectors because I definitely need my yarn spindle for that one. Because we are working on those cakes from the inside out. Sorry, no, sorry, from outside in. So I'll put them on the spindle. It'll spindleize around while I take yarns off them. So yeah, what are we doing today? Are we gonna finish up first the beanie because then it's done? Or are we gonna work on the hat collectors? Or am I really gonna figure out to how much I need to sew together of that? I could be that I may option to wait with my shrug until next weekend because I'm getting visitors next weekend, and my cousin is also a crafty person, so she might be able to help me measure so I know exactly where I should sew it together. That is my only thinking there. Megan is obviously a big favorite of me continuing on the Heart Collector show, which I'm absolutely fine with. I haven't progressed on it since Wednesday because yesterday was basically work, getting to my appointment, um, getting back from work, getting to my in-laws, having dinner there, then home, then I had a meeting. When the meeting was done, I was kind of like just wrecked, basically. I was like I'm done. Life is done with me. I have no energy to do anything, and that's basically what happened. So I didn't craft much. So I crafted as much as I said, I'm missing half an inch in this one. It's just half an inch. That's basically where we're at 10.5 inches. So it's not that far. And indeed, it could be that I could easily option to finish this one tonight because it's not a big project. I do have an appointment again tonight. I don't know. It's a crazy. February has been really crazy, and March is gonna get worse. I'm gonna have a 2 week period literally in March where I barely have time to even remotely craft. Or well, I will have time to craft, but I'm not so sure if I'll have a lot of time to go live. It's gonna be a time will show ish situation. So there is that. But we can definitely work on the heart collectors because that seems to be currently the favorite there. Let's see here. Goody goody. What I did conclude last time was that we worked that in the 3 millimeters. So I need a 3.75 because I think 4 personally might be just on the edge of too big for this yarn. That's my personal opinion, huh? There's a difference, so the personal and non-personal. So I actually also weighed up this. It's just a couple of grams. It's basically I barely used anything. So I think I'm just gonna put it straight back into my stash. Because this, my friends, is not that much. It's like 5 grams at best. Um, so it's like I don't know, 20, 30 meters maybe of yarn. I'll be fine. So I'm gonna take a look at these just to make sure I have the right one. But I recall that we checked last time, and each of these, so we have 2 of the same dye lot, and then we have one that's not having the same dye lot. And I believe these 2 are the ones with the same dye lot. Yeah. So same dye lot, obviously 100% the same, but the rest here, yeah. Because the light today is a bit better than it was yesterday. Or not yesterday, Wednesday, when we were like starting to look at this. Hello, Just Lucy. I do remember you. Yes, you were here with us. I believe either was it Monday or Wednesday. That I'll admit I do not recall. Yeah, it's the same. Also, when we get further in. Okay, cool. So, my friends, that's gonna be our big friend today, which means that we are gonna also remove the label because we are pulling from the outside of this cake. So, my friend of my yarn is game. So we should put you guys down. What I'm crocheting on today, we are going to continue working on the heart collector shawl. Wednesday, I finished up the heart, and now we are going to start at the shawl, growing, growing, growing. So that's basically where we are at. Alternatively, we were talking about I could continue or finish up my beanie, but we didn't go there. So here we have them without a label. This seems so weird now when there's no label on it. It seems naked. Can I say that without being offensive? Uh, it feels naked. This looks like it could be our start, which it is. So we'll pop it on the spindle here. Ta-ta. And we are going to crunch on with this mauve color until we get the first knot to the first where it goes. So this is a twined 4-strand. So it's 4 strands twined together. And when we get the first knot on the first strand going into the coral color, and this is actually coral, just solid, then that is when we are cutting the yarn and taking the next cake. So Ta 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 ta. This is where we are at. I'm just gonna put him a bit to the side because that leaves me a bit more room to crochet. I am going to find the pattern. I didn't finish the blue shrug because I need to sew, and sewing is like my least favorite part. So I felt like doing something else when I went live Wednesday, and that is why we are here with the Heart Collector shawl. So I totally admit procrastinating the shrug. I am right now debating if I should wait with the shrug until next week, Friday. I'll have visitors coming over there, and she's also quite crafty, my cousin. So hopefully, maybe we can work out something together, or maybe I'll just end up doing it this weekend. It's a little bit undecided. Um, sew that piece together. Um, I just felt like doing something else. That's the bottom line. Let's see here. I got the stitch markers placed. Weave in ends. That's what I did. Join in the first stitch marker with a chain 4. Yeah. What way do they want to work around this one? I guess they want to work around like this. So that will be over here. That would be my logic world. Counts as a double crochet chain 1 and then double crochet in the same stitch. Okay. So da, 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 da. That's always a challenge how one prefers adding new yarn. I got to go, but just want to pop by. Might be back later if you're still on. I might be. I wish you a great day. And hey, Rev, hope you're doing fine. I see first now that your hello kind of got spammed away. Da-dum-dum. I also see that Amanda was on her channel doing a live. Let's see. So what I kind of wanted, but I didn't want is, well, that's what we're gonna do. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, that's gonna be fine. Do do. 2, 3, 4, and a double. Like that. I'm good. I managed to get through the first cake of the Karen Perfect facing. The yarn is amazingly soft. Yes, it also looked pretty nice. And the same skip. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch, double crochet in the next 14 times. I can do that. So let's see. Skip 1, double crochet. One can definitely feel that I used a smaller hook for that heart because this is fiddly fiddly. This is also fiddly fiddly. Why is it that? I am not sure, but there's probably a good reason for the downsizing hook. Um, so what I'm thinking is here, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, because that's the tip. Coolio, yeah. Okay, so that's easy. Easy. I love when it's straightforward. It's gonna get a bit easier after the first row because then everything is kind of again lined up with the same crochet hook size. Right now I am entering a bit smaller stitches because the pass row was made in a 3mm hook and I am sitting here with a 3.75. And yeah, I really should work on that truck. I know. So I'll find time to sew together. So the most important this weekend um, for me is to have a project that's easy to bring along with me in the car Sunday because I'm gonna spend 4 hours in a car on Sunday. 2 hours one direction, 2 hours the other direction, and I may drive on the back home. I may not. That's nothing sure. I'm definitely not driving on the way there. And in that event, I'd like to have something I can work on. I'd like a project. Um, so I need something that's easy to bring with me in the car. And that could be a new knit hat or or the cowl. So I need to either or. Last time I brought the cowl with me in the car and that worked up fine. But the real challenge there is um, I think I'm gonna try to attempt it with a rip edge, or alternatively, I just don't need to do it at all because me and the pattern aren't friends. I don't know, but I kind of want to make it because I don't want to be defeated. I refuse to let a knitting pattern defeat me, if that makes any sense. Plus, I know Susan would be disappointed if I give up on it. So, and I feel confident this has nothing to do with me um, having a tight tension on knitting because I don't think so. I'm not sure if I have a tight knitting tension. I will have to compare with something, um, and that will require me to, like, let's say, knit a swatch. But I do believe that um, my how can I say that? So it might. I don't know if it's a tight one. It could be, but um, when I thought it was really tight, was realizing because I was using the wrong knitting needles, right? I thought that the first needles I was using, when it said 5, it was a 5 millimeters, but it appears to be a US size 5, or my 8 millimeters. I thought was a 8 millimeter knitting needles, but it was a US size 8. And that is just not the same. Okay, so I needed to do the next 14 times. So we need to count here from 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. It fits. How convenient. So in the next stitch marker, and that's, I'm just going to see how they're going to do that. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and then they're having here, and that pinpoint 2 double crochets, but they do have a chain 2 between the first and the second, like that. And then that is an extra. So that should be this stitch here. And now we are just gonna crank it up all the way to the other end. So let's go ahead and do that. One thing I hate with the fiber arts is that it's confusing labels on the tools that we can all agree that numbers and lettering system is stupid and just use the millimeter sizing. Wouldn't that be amazing? I totally agree. Like, this is considered an F hook. No freaking clue what that means in American or English or anything else. But I know, luckily, it's a 3.75 millimeter. That works for me. Let's not talk funky sizes. Just tell me the millimeters, please. Like, for real, it would be so much nicer. But it's the same. I believe, like, if you go to the UK, or especially if you go to Australia and New Zealand, they talk about plies, how many ply yarn it is, rather than a specific thickness. Um, And to some extent, I guess you can see it in Denmark too. Um, so, yeah, that would be really nice if the whole world would be more uniform regarding yarn thickness and what to call them, um, and tool sizes and so on. Now, like, wouldn't that be freaking nice? Yes, it would. But I guess it's the same as asking people not using the metric system to use the metric system. Like, why are we calling things ounces and yards and so on? Because there's no logic measuring to it. I think the metric system, sorry, my opinions might be flawed due to the fact that I am using the metric system, but genuinely, I think everybody should just use the metric system. It would be so much easier for everyone. Like, you know, gallons? Come on, why not liters? Like it's 100 divided by 100. Like where's the logic in that? But at the same time, in Danish, the Danish counting is not exactly logic either. Like we like to refer a lot of things to dozen, which is like 12 or 20. Hello, Michi. Oh my goodness. It's been 2 years. I can't believe it. How are you doing, Michi? This wonderful Friday morning, which definitely over here in the European side is a bit of a chilly afternoon. And I will head to Germany Sunday. So I'll be in Germany on Sunday. So yeah, guten Morgen. Hello, Susan. Wonderful to have you with us. We were just debating in the start of this live if I should finish up my beanie or if I should continue on the hat collectors. And Megan were convincing me to work on the hat collectors. Meanwhile, I should probably also have sewn together the shrug, but I haven't. I'm I'm procrastinating because it's sewing. I'm in full admittance. I have procrastinated my shrug because the next step is likely going to be sewing, or it's very close. It could be that I need to do 2 more rows. Mm-mm-mm. The metric system is superior in all things except temperature. Fahrenheit is more useful for the temperature range for humans to occupy. Really? Okay. Never thought about it. The weather in New Jersey is rainy with a temperature of 39 degrees Fahrenheit, about 4 degrees Celsius. Wind is blowing from northeast at 8 miles per hour, and the current temperature is 98. I think also it's not raining here, but it's also around 4 degrees. Mishi says about to leave the house for work. Glad it's Friday. We all are glad it's Friday. I am officially having a weekend now, except I have a bunch of things to do this weekend, or I have a lot of obligations, and I have a lot of things I'd like to do before certain obligations as well. So, yeah, and I'd like to get some sleep also. So, actually, tomorrow I think I'm not gonna put a timer. I'm just gonna sleep till I wake. My body says it needs something along those lines. So I think I am, for once, just gonna listen to it. 1, 2. Do, do, do. Susan says I would finish up Vips. Yeah, I should finish up Vips. I'm sort of in agreement there. But now we got started on this, which I'm not unhappy about either, actually. But and then we are gonna chain one, and I do believe that is what we'll do. Like that, just like that. And now it's time to turn our work. Oh my goodness. We should do like this. That shows it nicer to you guys. Ta-ta! First row. I think this is a nice coloration choice. Yeah, this works. It definitely does. I am pleased. Susan, I'm missing just half an inch on that beanie, so I am really tempted on working on that. But what we're gonna do now is I am gonna do like just a couple of rows at least in this one, so I can weave in the end over here. That feels like a logic choice, and then we can still option a little bit for the beanie, maybe. Is what I'm thinking. Unless you have a better suggestion. It does look good. I think we did a good color choice. Chain 3. Wait a second. So they want me to chain 3 and double crochet in the same stitch. Yeah, I probably should follow that. But I feel I should just do a stacked double. But it says it talks about troubles. I think I'll just do what it says. I really double crochet in the same stitch. Yes, sir. That's what we did. 1 double crochet in the next 4 stitches. 2 double crochet in the next stitch. Okay. So that will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it wants me to have 2, so we'll do 2 in the gap here. And then it says a 5, 2 times 2. Okay. So we count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we are back to 2. Will do. Yep, it matches. Okay, do another 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we'll have again 2 in the space. Then I just need to count. But if I count correctly, I'm not really sure why I keep them up here anymore because I don't really need them. But if I now then count correctly, I should have 15 stitches left until the center. So we'll do a bit of math. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Goodbye. Take care, Mitchie. Have a great day. Thank you for just checking in on us. It was wonderful to have you, even though it was just a short visit. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 matches. So far we are good. Let's just change it for the blue one because I like the blue one. So yeah, I'm literally just half an inch short from completing my rib knit beanie. So that would be really nice. But technically working on WIPs, this is a WIP too. It's not like I started this one today. And we do definitely have WIPs to work on. And a part of me really wanted to finish up that beanie. So maybe that is what we need to do once we've gotten this a bit further along. I'm also a bit keen to see how much yarn I'll have left and if I'll assess if I'll be able to maybe make a single stranded one, um, maybe without a folded brim. I think so, but I'm not 100% sure. Good. I need to read now. I need to read. Du-du. So in the center we have 2 double crochets. Then in a minute I need to count again because then I don't need to count later, if that makes sense. So we need 15, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. So this is where we'll need to start increase again. Do, 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 do. So we need to do 15. It seems to be busy this morning in the streaming world because if Amanda is on streaming and I'm on streaming, and I don't know what else people are doing. Well, work is also a thing. Unfortunately, a very much real thing. Then I don't know if more people will pop up and say hello to us. I hope so. If you're new in this chat, if you're new with this live, feel free to grab something to drink. We have a nice cabin just across the corner there. Coffee, tea, or just a water or something else, whatever fits your taste at this current hour of the day. Rob says, so with my tension on a 5mm hook, one Karen Cloud Cake perfect face could get me to 44 inches or about 112 centimeters. That's not too bad. That is where we are at. And I believe we do need to do some increases here. So now we need to do 1, 2, and then another 5 stitches. So that should fit here. Another 2. Something's not adding up here, is it? feel something is missing. I need to count. Just give me a second, please. The crochet. So I did the double. Du-du-du. Okay, we need the 5. Perfect. Okay. I need 4 more stitches. That's a challenge when you're mirroring this. That just until you get used to it again, it's just a bit of an extra thinking. But generally, we should be fine. Do 5, and then we'll have a 2. And then it's going to be 4. And then, ooh, this is where I really would want to have the stats instead. That would have been so much nicer to work in. But I'm not going to frog this. Not for that. Mm. Not for that, my friends. But here we got through it. What was the next round? Oh my goodness. We'll make another little show. Actually, we should turn it around because this is more correct. Ta-ta! It's starting to show nicely. Chain 4 treble. I could also do a stack treble maybe with singles. I think that could look like it would be easier to work with for finding those stitches. And I think a stacked look nicer than the. So I guess that's what we're gonna do. Back post treble in the next every stitch. In the next every stitch. What the heck is that for language? Um, one back. Yeah, oh, that should be easy enough. But I will say I would personally prefer the stack method. So I'm going to see I should be able to stack 3 singles instead. So that is what we're going to try to do. So now we are stacking. And get into that one. There you go. Plus a regular. Do. That is much nicer. Edge. Yeah, we'll work with the stacking. Most definitely. Back post. Treble in every stitch. Okay. So yeah, we'll do that. And when we are done with this row, we are gonna weave in that starting end because then it's no longer gonna disturb me. And we'll then have this feeling of accomplishments, like in the end. I don't think any of us really likes to weave in ends. It's tedious. It's boring. It's a must do. I don't know. Do you like to weave in ends? It's like sewing. Um, I don't know. I could, I guess, but I'm not sitting and waiting on it right now. But yeah, this looks nice. Hey, May! Okay, let me catch up for a minute here. Ref, are you going to buy 2 more currant cloud cakes? And Ref says you did already. Yeah, I think you put an order and you got the spindle as well, right? May says, hey, Steen and everybody, not new in any way, shape, or form, but I can come and say hi. We are happy to have you in here and say hi. And yeah, if you're not already sitting with a project, grab one and hang out with us. Because, it is just so much nicer to hang around with friends when we craft. And as I said, I am really looking forward for the coming weekend. As my cousin said, she's there to be with us and have a good time. She's not necessarily coming for us to do a bunch of touristic things. So we're just, gonna enjoy each other's company and probably spend some time crafting and chatting, drinking tea. She's also an avid tea drinker. So I did get some, I did refill my tea storage because some of the loose teas I drink, they were almost out. And since I were in the city yesterday, I went by the store and grabbed some extra teas. Definitely needed. The sad thing, of course, was that it was a really bad weather. And I didn't have that much extra time. So unfortunately, I didn't have enough time to record a quick visit to one of the value stores where you can get some nice value yarns. Um, and one of them had a skein that I was extremely tempted at getting, but I were a good girl. I didn't get anything. Well, that's actually a lie, but I didn't get anything yarn related. Um, I did get a new charging cable for my phone because my long charging cable is breaking. That is what I did get. Mm-mm-mm. Rev says right before her stream, she loads up OBS and her webcam is not working. She restarts her PC, plug it back in, changes USB ports, is still nothing. Oh my goodness. Pretty sure it was a fake curse. That could be. So, yeah, uh, I do have my obviously um, my webcam running, which I think is not the best because I don't think it's right now. It seems reasonably accurate color wise, but then when it gets a bit later in the day, the colors again then don't fully match, and ugh, it only gives true colors under natural light. In the winter, that sucks more than in summer, obviously, because in the winter I need more uh non-natural. Oh, what's that called? Um, yeah, I need light from a light source like a lamp, or I won't be able to see much. It's just dark. Da, 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 da. So I realized I didn't turn on my music. Hmm, I did now, at least something. So, okay, we are still cracking on with these troubles. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. But yeah, so I kind of hope she definitely can help me if I feel I need help for the shrug. Alternatively, I just basically need to put some stitch markers in and see how it acts. We could do that. We could do that. But the real question is, do we want to sit and sew all afternoon? It's not all afternoon. It's not going to be all afternoon. But it is indeed nice to have this one started. I think this could end up being one of my bigger projects. Well, I know it's one of the biggest projects for the year. But I mean, for when my cousin is here, that could make good sense. Du- du- du. All these trebles. So what I really like in the beginning on shawls like this is you feel you make so much progress because you often change turn and um, it grows quicker. You can like see the difference very quickly. But then once we are getting further out and a row takes a couple of hours, something like that, I don't know if it's gonna do, but it's probably like an hour or more. Um, then it's gonna feel like everything takes forever. But here in the beginning, it's not too bad. Let's see. I think I do have like, yeah, we have two trebles in the center. Then we start on the other side, all the way back to the second last. So it's going to be like 38 back post trebles on each side. Mm. I have an idea. For one, I could imagine myself making in the future. But there are many things I can imagine for myself, but I'm not sure if it comes in that. So let's check. But oh my goodness. I have this idea. Hmm. Oh, that's gorgeous. Yarns have so many new yarns as well where I'm like, I'd love to. But we are back in the Stina, you have enough yarn. And I was good. I was a good girl. I didn't buy yarn yesterday. I was tempted at some stage, but I didn't get any. Um, And that's despite the yarn only being €3 per skein. And I was like, oh, that could make the most gorgeous hat. But as I said, I was a really good girl and I did not get it. Um, I'm going to see if they might have it on their online site. That could be. If you guys would want to see it. Mhm. Da-da. So I'm just going to see if they have it. But it was this most nice heathered brown, and it was soft to the touch. But I don't know if they actually will show it here. Yeah, it looks like they may. Oh, it's an acrylic polyester. I thought it was actually that it had wool in, but I admit two of them had no label around them, and one the label was like so difficult to read without like kind of ruining the whole donut. But look at this color. And the yarn was really nice and soft to the touch. Um, but yeah, I wasn't a complete sure if I would need one or two, and I was like, I'm not gonna buy yarn because honestly, I have enough. I have enough projects as it is, and I have enough yarn as it is, and I'm like, yeah, no, just let it stay in the store. So I did. Um, and they do have a few other colorways, but it was only the heathered brown that I saw in the store. But this actually is really gorgeous too. Look at it, these colors. But this looks like it's twisted. But it didn't feel twisted when I was standing with it in the store. So that's what's interesting. This is also gorgeous. But as I said, it wasn't twisted. But looking at this, it looks twisted. So I really don't know if that's the case or not. Let's see. It's not the best store for viewing stuff in. And they also had all these various variegations, which I can imagine like double stranding them would gave the most gorgeous stuff. This was like super soft, quite thick. They were like requiring 7 millimeter needles, so thin but thick because of the fluff on it. Um, hmm, Polyester, yes, I think that was the yarn I saw. That was the May, because this is all different, and it definitely wasn't this because it had this heathered look. This is gorgeous too, but that's not soft at all. I did touch it. It's not soft at all. You could really clearly feel it. Classic sock yarn. That's not expensive, by the way. €3 for a ball of sock yarn that will give you two socks or a pair of socks. And then we have all their, this is their value acrylics, and the same, exact same acrylics, or actually just a different label around them, but the same weight. Yeah, it's accessories what I'm making the shrug in. So it's super price friendly. Um, they did have these, and I think this could be gorgeous mixed up with maybe like a green. So some of these like variegated as well. I didn't see any of their tweeds, and I also didn't bump into their mohairs. So some of their collections was really basic. I did see these. This is like plush-ons. Not really sure if I would want to do anything with them, but they look good. So that was just a quick fun fact that they do have them online, but I'm also not going to pay for shipping. Hell no. And I'm not sure. I would probably need two skeins to finish a hat. Um, And then I was like, yeah, but you have so many things already you need to get through. So no. And I left it at the store. I was a good girl. And I had kind of wanted to bring you guys along, but the store was super busy. The yarn section was also a bit of a mess. So um, yeah, it didn't seem optimal to record, unfortunately. So I will try to bring you guys with me on the next tour. We are slowly getting there. And if you haven't done it yet, don't forget to hydrate. I should hydrate. I do have tea with me today, as always, almost, except for when it's summer and super warm. Don't split on me, Jan. Um, so I have my tea today. It's a Lipton tea. It's a Lipton Russian Earl Grey. So instead of a normal Earl Grey, it's just basically an Earl Grey instead of the bergamot taste they add to the Earl Grey. It's lemon. Nice. Mm. Rev, they won't only steal them, they will make holes in them. If you find them back, they will be filled with holes. And meanwhile, the gnomes will maybe also break your washing machine, so it will eat your socks. At least I think I have gnomes eating the socks in my washing machine. Sometimes I do have less socks. Where do you think they get the material for their hats? Yeah, that's a sock. So the leftover socks turned into gnome hats. Sweet. I did actually have good news, by the way, yesterday from my doctor or my specialist. They wrote me a new prescription, which is, of course, always nice when you're on prescription meds. And they were like, "Yes, Dina, the prescriptions you're on, we don't actually need to do all the blood works that we usually do anymore, and it seems like it's going really nice for you. So yeah, I'm going to give you a prescription for you, and I'll see you in a year time." And I'm like, "Whoa!" And of course, with the if anything changes, of course you can always call. I don't complain. That's nice if that's actually working so easy. Especially because there was some delays yesterday, so I ended up waiting half an hour extra. But on the other hand, that wasn't too bad. The time before, like last spring, I was sitting there and it was like an hour and a half. And I was in good time. Here, I'm not really sure why it was delayed because it was seemed pretty calm, like as if I arrived just after everybody's lunch break. Or maybe that was exactly why. I don't know. And yeah, I am definitely tempted to wrap up that beanie. Will make good sense to do so. We'll make everybody happy today. And then the tiny fiddly work begins because here somewhere I need to find the top stitch. which is like, ugh. And I mean fiddly work. It's not just a joke. There. No, didn't get the yarn with me out. There. And one more treble, please. So that was my treble. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do a flat lay again. Cha-cha. Look. And you can easily, nicely see here this back posts popping forward. I really like how that gives this nice edge. But oh, I feel I should have expanded up here, but it's okay. Just needs a little press, then it's fine. My heart is ticking for you. Let's find those darning needles so I can weave in that end. Do. Thank you, Megan. Megan says it looks great so far, and I will absolutely agree on that. I think we did a good choice coloring wise, picking the darker one rather than the lighter one. And I also still think these are better than the really dark reds, which was really more like a brown red. So I'm actually pretty pleased with that. I recently got a magnetic dish, so my darning needs to stop running away. Well, mine stays in the tiny thingy. I got this as a gift with hobby. Like when I made one of my first orders ever, so it's like a few years old. But I actually like it, and it's like six squared, so it's easy to hold for when you're like screwing on and off the cap. So as long as it doesn't get brittle, this is probably gonna be my friend. But I may consider getting one of those wooden ones to keep track of my needles. So we are gonna get up here because that is sort of a semi-requirement. I'll get back down. Then we'll crack on. So because this means it won't just untangle that easy. And now we're just gonna ensure the thread is weaved into its full length. It won't come undone. No knots, no nothing. Just takes a bit of time to get it all weaved in. But we are getting there. Mm-mm. Ta-ta! And done. Just need to cut it. But I like the idea of the magnetic one. That's actually a good idea too, to help keep track of them all. Do-do-do. So, ta-ta. No loose ends either. Meanwhile, we're just looking gorgeous as is. Then it's a bunch of single crochets. Do-do-do-do-do. I guess I'm semi-tempted to just do row 10 and park it there. So I did row 10. That's my starting point at first. And then we'll just crank on row 10. And that is a nice place to stop. And then we'll have a look at that hat to see if we can finish it. And if we finish it, we can revert back to the heart collector shawl a bit later in the stream. Because a finished hat would be a nice thing. Yeah. So what's up for everybody this weekend? What's for dinner? I am on the healthy train today. We are doing a salad, and I am gonna fry slash bake some chicken pieces. So we're gonna do fried chicken, but not deep fried, fried on the pan. Um, to combine that with, and yeah. I have the feeling some of these single crochets are tighter than others, but they aren't. They do look the same. Ooh. In the tender, we need to double crochets. Okay. Mm. Rev says I'm making spaghetti with the fresh tomato sauce. Will make enough for the next couple of days. Leftover pasta is the best. You seem to be of the exact same opinion as my partner. He's like, this pasta the second day just tastes better than the first day it's made. And I'm like, yeah, pasta is pasta. I like both. I was debating on the easy pasta version, but I can also imagine me just making it next week. I'll kind of be fine with that too, if that makes sense. I have Pirates of the Caribbean in cello tune in my headset right now, and I get all like ta-da, happy because I think it's such a happy tune. I guess it is a happy tune. I saw it with a friend many years ago, the first one in the cinemas. It was good. Just laughing our asses off. It's a very, very long time ago. We're still living home at my parents'. Probably been either 1 or 2 years before I moved out. Can't imagine it's not long ago. And also in 3 weeks' time, I'll be in Denmark. And we definitely need to look at what I can bring with me to Denmark, project-wise, which preferably is big enough to last me a week and small enough to stuff into my suitcase without taking up too much space. So that is going to be my challenge. But I'll have a look at it and figure something out. Optionally, I'll bring a cake and start a new project. That could be that I just need something simple for in the car later when I get home. So I may bring something that I won't finish. Undecided. Or I go through my yarns and I check what plans I had for hats, for bucket hats or something like that. But yeah, a bucket hat is quickly done. So I'm not sure, but I will also be quite busy. I'm probably going to help clean the house. We are having visitors on the Saturday when we hold a delayed birthday party, delayed for a year plus, being with family and so on. So I don't know, but yeah, I'll still have time left, but we'll probably also do other things. Let's see. I should have 2 stitches in that last one. Oh, not double crochets, Stina, single crochets. And then we should make ready for a turn. Though that should not be that needed right now. So we are looking like this, even though it's kind of curling a little bit, but this is the current look after row 10. On row 10, we do need to start increasing again, I see. So, or not row 10 or row 11. So, yeah, let's hold on here for continuing and finish up that. Oh, I took the wrong one, I see. It's cool. Not super important. We'll add both. Ta-ta! That is where we are at. I like the look. Also, as you can see, we still have a fair few bits to get to the next color change. And once that happens, it's a cut time. And we'll take the next cake. That is currently how it works. And that is why I wanted its own separate yarn spindle, because, as I said, I luckily have like 2 of them, and then I can keep the Shaspel with project all the time. I also am not sure if it's ideal to bring with me in a car. Maybe when I get to a place where it's just repeating the pattern and I figure out the easy repeat of that pattern, then I could probably do that. I've never seen any of the Pirates of the Caribbean films. Oh my goodness, you missed something. I think they're really good. Um, they are having a nice humor to them. So I think they're actually very good. I like them. Of course, you need to be into a little bit of a fantasy piracy stuff. But I think they're really, really good. I didn't expect to enjoy them as much as I did because I was like, pirates. Yeah, we'll see. But I have to say, I really, really had a good laugh. I have to give that. Had a really, really good laugh. Goody, goody. Let's double check this beanie. But I do feel reasonably confident. I'm just giving it a bit of a classic stretch here, just to make the stitches a bit sitting at home. We'll measure it from just below the needle cable and all the way down, and it says 10.5, so yeah, exactly half an inch short. What is half an inch? It is about a bit more than a centimeter, centimeter and a half. For those curious on that, in metrics. What I did have last night, I had one of those factory ends, so I cut the yarn, and I do have some ends here to weave in. So that is for later, because I think that's easier later when we have everything done. I'll flip it around and I'll weave them in on the inside. And then we'll see how much yarn I have left when we get there. And the idea is then to start on the thinner one and use the thicker one if there is enough to. I'm not sure if there's enough yarn to do another full rip. There's definitely not enough to do a full rip knit, only this color. So either I'll need to look at making a rip knit combined with a different color, or I need to single strand and not do it with a folded brim. That is definitely something I'll need to look at. Let's see, how much is that actually? Half an inch. It's probably like 3 or 4 rows. Okay, that's not too bad. So I'll guess we should technically measure after 3 to see if we need a 4th. And if we need a 4th, we'll do a 4th and then we'll close off. I do have my double pointed needles, but I should put these in a double pointed version on my wish list, maybe. I do enjoy them, so maybe they would also be nice to have as double pointed. That is something I have been considering. I got my mom some in the sock weight size, so I do think I got her 2.5, 2.75, and 3 millimeters. Because I know, so she enjoys generally knitting socks, or she can knit socks, and she does that on double pointed needles. So for me, that was a logic choice to give her some. I'm unsure if she's tried them yet. But the idea of these cubics are that they should be better for your hands if you have, for example, arthritis or similar issues. Mm, 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 mm. Rev is giving us an update on his current work in progress. I definitely hope we can finish this one before end of today, because then we can pick up again the hat collectors. Let's see if we can. Here we go. This is the current perfect facing royal after a full cake in corner to corner granny stitch to be exact. I think it looks good. I am sure your wife will be very pleased with the end result. Who doesn't like getting a shawl? Just asking. I wouldn't mind. I definitely wouldn't mind. Oh. Oh, no. I need you to put it further away so I don't get these yarns tangled together. That's not my intent. So we are almost the first round done. That means that we have two to go for the next measurement. I posted the pic in a text chat and her response, mine. Yep, but that's good. I guess she claimed it already. So we started the second round since measuring. And this yarn really slides a lot nicer around. I just need to move it a fair bit, but it slides a lot nicer around compared to the other yarns I had. So this is so much more pleasant to knit, to be honest, compared to the red Milland I had. I am also pretty unsure what on earth is a knot doing in a Milland. Like, genuinely. How did that end up there? It should be like the end. Should be like nothing else to add. The plan is for this to be a blanket she can curl up with when we are watching TV. Oh, nice. My fleur is diagonally across the corner from me here. So if I look that direction, I can see Fleur laying on the couch. And I still have all those leftover yarns from Fleur that I want to knit up into scrap beanies. I think this could also work really nice with a gray, black, or white if you just want to double layer it with something neutral, or green for that matter. Or brown even, because it's this sage heathered green. But I mean, maybe if I had enough to make a single stranded one, I'll probably be open for doing that instead. We're getting there. That means this is getting us closer to the end of round 2. And as mentioned a bit ago, I'm doing the same method as I did for the red scrap yarn or red millens. I do have a smaller needle on the left than I do have on the right. So the right is the right needle size. That's what I'm knitting with, or the working needle. And the holding needle is a size smaller. That helps the stitches slide a bit easier um, from the cable onto the needle. Meanwhile, we are definitely getting there. So about to start on the 3rd round, and then we can decrease. And once we're done with that, we can go ahead and finish up this hat, weave in the ends, find the yarn collectors back, and work on that for the rest of this live. So the good thing, of course, is by doing this is that I then know how much yarn I have left once done. And then I can start to see if I think I'm going to use this yarn for a project to bring with me Sunday, or if it's going to be something entirely else. And of course, I still have that project with the cowl. As I said, I think I am going to do, gonna cast on and rib it for the first, let's say, 2 inches or so, 1.5, 2 inches. And then we'll follow the pattern and we'll finish off with the same amount of rib. But the rib will be done in a needle like at least half or 2 sizes larger than what the main body will be knit in. That's my thinking right now. I think that helps with the curl issue, and anything in between, I can just follow the pattern. And if it doesn't help with the curl issue, then it's just going to be the end. Because I do feel the alternating rib, knit, knit, rib. It takes too much effort for me to find myself being motivated enough to do that. Goody. We're about halfway or so for the measuring point. And then it's time to see if we are going to throw on another round or if we think it's ready for a close off. As I said, it is really not going to be much more than maybe one, at worst 2 more rounds we will need to add. And then it's just decreasing to close it. So that is pretty much close to be finished, which means that we will definitely finish this one during this live. Awesome. Um, Okay, so this is where we have the edge. So before I continue, what's a believe the third round. Da-da-dum. Let's find the right line. Oh, this is in centimeters. No wonder it looks like inches. It says 11. Does it say 11 on the other side too? I assume so. It does. Guess what, guys? We are gonna close it off. Which means it's time for these fellas. My 8mm double pointed bamboo. And that's what I'm thinking. I should get these and these. I'm sure there's somebody that wants something for my wishing list because my birthday is also going to be celebrating in 3 weeks. Not that it's a long time ago, but I need to add something to that wish list. Maybe that should be one of the things I should consider adding. Good. Let's grab some yarns here. So, first victim. What I should do before I do this, I should put on an end cap. And that is over there. So, hang on for a minute. Do we have them in here? We have end caps here. Just in case. Just in case that it wants to pop off. It is on a short wire. And I'd hate for my stitches to drop because that, my friend, is going to be a mess to fix. And I'm not waiting to fix messes. Nope, nope, nope. Don't want to fix any messes. Ooh. But yeah, I can't believe it's already Friday. Do, do, do. Da, 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 da. There we go. That part fixed. End cap stitches won't leave us. At least not that easy. Then I don't need this one anymore. Because now we are gonna decrease. And I do that by doing first a slip slip knit purl. So we are decreasing 4 stitches into 3. I had 64 stitches in total before I started on this. What normally would that be? Because I do not believe it's divisible by 4. Well, it is divisible by 4, but not as in 4 equal sums. Oh, well, it is 16, which means that I have here the first 8. So I need to do another 8 on this, and then I'll take the next, etc. So that's actually another nice reason for this. That's why one of the reasons. So I do the 16 around because it gives a little bit more size to the beanie. It's less tight. It's just nice and round. And I think that's when you either, like me, is a bit more of a yeah, maybe I do have a bit of tighter attention for knitting, but I mean, I have a bigger head. Um, so it kind of helps me um, fit into them should I want to keep one at some stage. That was the first 12. So we do need to turn another 4 into 3. And once that's done, then it's time for the next needle. So that is basically the first 16 stitches decreased here into 12. Next victim. So instead of directly slipping them over for when I'm knitting them, I'm just going in behind and pulling them through forward. I feel that is much easier for me. So that is how I approach the slip slip knit. Because bottom line is if I slide them over and then knit them, the end result is the same. At least my stitches look the same. So that is how I do them. So that was the first 8 on this. And I have to say, so far, I think that they are also easier decreasing this yarn than the other yarn was. So it is just generally a bit of pleasure, more pleasure to work with this yarn than the red I had. Don't leave just yet. Stitch. Of course, the challenge here is I should maybe tilt up this a bit for you to easier see. The only alternative would be to have an even, maybe shorter circular one. That could work. But I feel this is much nicer to work with actually than the extremely short circular ones. Because I still feel I pull too much in the yarn to make it all stretch and reach under one. And that basically, yeah, it annoys me. I don't want to fight it. It just needs to go. It should not be a fight or struggle. Because when it turns into a struggle because it doesn't want to, it's not as enjoyable. And I think most of us have this hobby to enjoy and to detach our brain a little, and at the same time be productive. And that's just not happening if I'm frustrated with whatever. The breakfast today is a bowl of maple brown sugar oatmeal. Sounds delicious. Something that I ate when I was in the States. I really liked grits. I have to give that. That was actually quite delicious. And that's, I think, just based corn, like a corn um, sort of br- um, cornmeal ish thing. I had oatmeal this morning. Grits is not very European. But it reminded me a lot about rice pudding. I think that's why I enjoyed it so much because I do like rice pudding. Grits are good, but I need eggs with them. Okay, so like grits and egg on the side. Ooh. I need to keep track. with my needles. Mm-mm-mm-mm. 8 stitches to go for the first round of decrease to be complete here. And we are definitely getting there. Now I just need to, maybe that's what I need to do, like that. I do go for cream of rice sometimes. It's similar to porridge, but made from rice flour. Okay. It's a good soft fried egg with runny yolk on the bowl of grits is very good. I'm not really good on the fried eggs with the runny yolk because I'd like, if I fry myself an egg, I'll fry it on both sides. I don't like runny yolks. It's the consistency of like, ugh. You will also like, I can eat a soft boiled egg, but I will quicker option for a hard boiled if I get the option to choose. I For some reason there's a strand not wanting to join us. On this side it does, but not on that side. Okay. Now there it was. Maybe it's because it's the last 4 stitches, because they're a little bit closer to the first, like the starting round of things. Ta-ta! Look, we knit off the cable. That's pretty awesome sauce. Means we have 2 rounds to go. And this beanie is complete once we've weaved in ends. Rev says he likes his eggs just barely set, so in the sense of it has to be runny, or what we would call in Danish would call them smiley eggs. That would be they're slightly hard, but not really hard. They like the yolk is slightly set, but it still has like a runny middle. So like the outer edge of the yolk is hard, and then the center is soft. So that's probably like, if you normally boil an egg somewhere between 3.5 and 4 minutes, this would probably have been boiled for 4.5 minutes, something like that. It's my estimate. So, da, 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 da. We are on for the next row of decreases here. Ah, I meant the white is set, but the yolk is still as runny as possible. Okay, yeah, so that's a soft boiled egg, I would say. Right, it's not hard boiled. Yeah, I'm not that type. I'd rather have them hard boiled, but that's just it's personal preference. And that is what I really like about our little world here. We don't all need to like the same things. We all are different, and it gives diversity, and that's wonderful. Hmm. Awesome. Look, another decrease done. So now you can really start to see the difference on how quickly this decreases. Because but every round we decrease by 2 on every 4 stitches. So the first time we decrease by um 16. The next row we then have 12 around, and we decrease again by 2, so that's 12. And then the last row will decrease by another 4 in each, so that's 8 by 4, 24. I prefer poached egg to anything, but they're a bit of a production to make, so I only get them when I am at a restaurant. Oh, yes. Yeah, that's definitely a challenge to make them nice and poached. Or it's an endeavor. Oh, that did not go as smooth as I had wanted it to. Anywho, we are back at it. As I said, just basically need to finish. Now it's obviously less than 2 rounds, and the last rows go quicker because we are decreasing. Ah, as long as the yarn doesn't fiddle and irritate me. No, 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 no. Stay there. Thank you. It was not allowed to let loose. I almost lost a stitch there, and I'm definitely not in the mood to try catch that up while doing decreases and all that stuff at the same time. That feels like a nightmare. Yeah. We are almost starting on that last needle. And then there's 1 round to go. And the idea that we almost complete is really, really nice. I am genuinely keen to see how much yarn I have left. Like I'll weigh it up and see how much there is. Um, I'm not 100% positive if I'll have enough for a full beanie, or maybe a child size beanie, like a very small one. That's maybe not impossible. And I think this yarn would work fine with the bankhead beanie pattern that Susan shared with us last spring. Thickness wise, that will work, I think. And they do have children's sizes in there. So that is what I might have to option for. But we will weigh it up. We will weigh it up. And then Stina will get an idea of what we are going to use these leftovers for. Because we are definitely going to use them somehow. But I'll probably need like 60-ish grams, I think, for a beanie. Single-stranded. Goody. Ready for the last row. Da, da, da. Last row is all decreases. So slip, slip, knit all the way around. What we are doing, though, is that we are, of course, still keeping the needles in, because after that we'll cut the yarn, grab our darning needle, and close off the top. I'm just so impressed that how quickly some people can knit these beanies, because I don't know how they'll manage. Like, for example, Kelsey, the designer of this concept, she's like, she could do like 5 or 6 in a day. So let's say roughly 1 every 2 hours. Like 2 hours, I haven't even done that much. Or conclusion is I'm just a heck of a slow knitter. I should practice more, I guess. That said, I'm not displeased. I'm just not very quick either. Was one more. And I think because I'm closing down now here and decreasing, and especially with these needles, it feels like, compared to when I'm doing the circular ones, it feels so much tighter, so much fiddlier somehow. So I'm like, yeah, I was having an okay tension around, and now I feel it's like tight. But maybe it's also because it gets smaller around, for the obvious reasons of obvious. And a part of this is also me not wanting to pull it out too much, but yeah. You've been with Amanda, I guess. I would have wanted to join, but given the fact that I didn't have a yarn talk for today, and we all talked about me definitely going live earlier this week, then of course I'm live with you guys. What happened here? Yeah, okay. I'm not gonna think about that. Plus it's on the inside. Goody goody. So I did listen to you, Susan, because we decided to finish up the beanie. Cut. Maybe it's on this short end, but we should be fine. This one is definitely sloppy. This is a lot less sloppy. The real question is, as I said, is if I have enough yarn here to make maybe a banquet beanie. I think that's the goal. If I have enough yarn there, I'll try to do that. And maybe I could always make a child size. Because then I don't need to double strand it, because double stranding this, there's definitely not like they are different weight wise. Because they were two different skeins, but it's the only skeins I have left. So this is the last millings of this exact color and setup. I could always double them with a different yarn. That could work. But at the same time, if I could make a one colored banquet beanie in this for like maybe a child size or something like that, I think I'd rather option for that. That is my thinking right now. But we need to weigh them up. But let's do that once we are done with closing off this one. One down. I should actually. Oh, like that. Two. Two down. Just put them on the side where the other one is. Three down. Four down. Yay. Then I'm always trying to see if I can do an extra round. Before pulling tight. And when we have done that, we are, of course, gonna weave it in on the inside. Susan says she loves knitting up this hat, and it is a nice hat to knit up. I absolutely agree on that. It's perfect for using up one skein in 4 weights. I mix and match all sorts of colors to see how they turn out. Yep, it is great. But I'm still thinking, would I want to double this with a different? I'll need to wait regardless. Because that all depends on how big of a hat I'll make. So what I need to do is I need to pull one, keep one. It's knotty time. And where are you? You are here. So we'll do like that. We'll knot it up. Then we'll still weave in ends. It's mindless knitting that can be done multitasking other things. For example, watching telly. That's what I've done over the past week. When I was been working on this, it's mainly been watching something on the TV. So yes, it's definitely, shall we call it mindless friendly? Let's see what I want. What do I want? It's a great contender for being mindless, definitely, because it's the same over and over and over. That said, I do want to have it started before I start watching something. Like I want to have it cast on the first, let's say, 3 to 4 rows done. Because then if I stop, I can easily see where I stopped. 2 rows could be enough, but I'd like to have a couple of rows done before doing the mindless part, because sometimes if it gets exciting, I hold a little break while knitting and I'll watch whatever was exciting. And then I revert, but I don't then always remember where I stopped. And to help that, then I need it like a clear, if it's rip or knit, what I'm doing. So hello, Lucy. I'm finishing up a hat that I've been knitting, that I worked on, and we were discussing whether I should have finished it up before working on the shawl or not. And then we got started on the shawl, and then I decided, yeah, I still wanted to finish up this because I wanted to calculate how much yarn I had left and what I could use that yarn for. So right now I'm just weaving in ends on the hat. This is the yarn I have left. I got hair in my mouth. And these ends are because I had a factory knot in the project. That makes nobody happy. The dreaded factory knots. Let's see. How can I do this best? This is how it twists. So that is why I had an extra end to weave in like halfway through up here. But yeah, I'd rather do that than having a factory knot that could be filled. Susan is suggesting if you run out of a color, you can create a design element mixing colors at the top of the hat. I could do that. But we're just gonna weigh that yarn when I've finished these ends. I'll grade my weight scale and we'll get an idea of how much I have left, and I'll figure out what I can do or cannot. Because if I conclude, okay, it's definitely not happening, I could also then maybe option for adding it to my acrylic scrap pile, and then it's just gonna turn into, I don't know, random beanies with random coloration changes, whatever and whatnot. Like I've tried before, but I definitely had the wrong the wrong size when I was doing that. Let's see. So that's the thing. This is the inside. So now we need to turn this one the right side so it gets on the outside. Look, that is the closing. Okay, I've seen a slight bit better, but it's okay. One stitch is doing a bit funny up there. Not sure what happened. We need to pull that in. Like, I need a crochet hook for that. Which is not an issue because I do have crochet hooks. Ta-ta. Ta-ta. That looks better. Ta-ta. So yeah, there's definitely options for hat designs. Let's see. Yep, that is the right twist. That's always the challenge when we weave in ends. It's finding that right twist. I'm thinking if I only have like 50 grams, then maybe I can still make a children's beanie. I think. Ta-ta! So we'll flip that one up. Look, we got a beanie. In a nice green color, except it doesn't look nice and green on the screen, but it is nice sage green. This is a bit more like a minty green, if you would believe me. But yeah, beanie, done. And I should be able to fit this. Just needs a little bit of a stretch. Ta-ta! So, what we talked about was me getting my weight scale. I just need to put away my darning needles and needles before I lose them. But yes, a project finished. That is very nice. I totally agree. Oh, paper or plastic bag broke. So I need to consider maybe taping it. But the fact it's complete, oh my goodness, I love finishing things. It's so nice when things are complete. That goes in there, at least for now. And weight scale, that was what we talked about. I needed my weight scale. So I'm just going to pick up my weight scale. It is just over here, so it's not that far. Does look a little dirty, but cool. Anyhow, that was a beanie complete. Susan says I can usually make the hat with 100-gram total of 56 stitches. I need looser than Stina. Yeah. Let's see how much is left. 44. And it was 93. This is less. But do we have at least, like, if we have 20, I feel confident that we can make a banquet beanie from the rest. 66 in total. And I believe when I last time did the banquet beanie, I used about 60 grams. Ta-ta! So that's gonna be what we're gonna try. So I'll start with obviously the small one of these two, and then I'll add the bigger one afterwards. But that's what I'm gonna do. Susan says I use 6.5 millimeters and not 8. Oh wow. Well, technically, I have been using smaller size in the beginning as well. Back when I did not know that, apparently. There was a difference to that. So I think I can cast the yarn on 5 millimeters successfully and get a banquet beanie out of this. So that's what I'm going to try to do. I am going to look through the pattern once more to check. Maybe instead of, I think I made a large last time, then instead I'll make a medium this time around. Then I definitely have enough yarn to do that. So that is going to be the goal for the end of these. Ta-ta. And if I'm good enough, I might option for the lacy version, which instead of twisting or turning the rib, I may option for just making regular rib knit until I get to the banquet piece. But you know, it'll be fine. But banquet beanie is a free pattern that is on Ravelry. I am just gonna find it for you guys. I will post it in the chat as well as we'll post in the description box down below. The pattern is by Susie Goulet, and as I said, it is a free pattern on Ravelry. Here they say needle size 4.5. Yeah, I'll definitely knit on 5.5. Also, given that I do have a bit tighter tension. So then we'll throw that as well in the description of this live. For those curious, I will add that at the bottom. Oh, if I can spell, that is. Done. Updated. But yeah, I should definitely have enough to do that there, because I'll have about 150-ish meters. So I can't make the big one, but I'll definitely need to make a smaller version of it, like a medium sized at best. That's the goal. Anyhow, we still have a bit left, which means we can do two things. We can go back looking at the hat collectors, or I can scuff off the shrug. Both is nice. But somehow I feel the hat collectors is easier. We just have a bit more than half an hour. And we did work on it, and I sort of promised we would get back to it today. So that means that because I finished that, I can cast on for the beanie to bring with me, which is a great idea, actually. And then what I think I'll do for Denmark is I'll take that cowl with me to Denmark. Mom, if you're still here, you know what we're gonna be doing. I think I'll do that. because I was also considering bringing the leftover yarn I would have after finishing that cowl with me as well, because I wanted to see if my mom would maybe make me some fingerless gloves from the remaining skein. So I think that is what I'm gonna do. That makes good sense. Perfect sense, actually. So I've made a plan. Good. Row 11. And that starts with a treble, except that's a chain 4, but we'll stack the treble. I said that looks nicer, sounds nicer. I think it's an excellent plan, Susan. So I'll bring the cowl with me. I can work on it in Denmark. I'm going to leave the remaining yarn, then look very nicely at my mom and hope that she will indeed. Oh, it counts as a chain 4 and a treble, not a treble. Haha, as a double. So, okay, we stack 1, chain 1, and a double crochet. Okay. That was clearly me being too quickly with the pattern. Actually, I'd rather have those teal ones because I'm gonna keep them in each end for where I have the starting and the last stitch. So I'll do that. Okay, what does it say? We are gonna basically do the same as we did the row before, if I read this correct. So the chain 1, double crochet in 3 stitches, and then we're gonna chain 1, skip 1 stitch, double crochet until and with the center. So that's easy. That's quick. I can do quick. So yeah, that's a plan right now. For that yarn. I'll simply bring it with me, and it's a small project to bring. I could finish it up while I'm there. I could look at what alternatives I can bring with me. But that is not what's the most important part. This also feels so tiny when you've just done this Brepnet beanie with double-stranded yarn. And the yarns are thicker as well. My knitting group friend is knitting the fingerless gloves flat 2 at a time. She can make a day that way. Okay. Yeah, I'll have my mom do it for me though, because I don't think my knitting experience is that strong that I can do that just yet. So I think I'm gonna have a look at my mom and say, "Mommy." And she likes having something to do. Right now, she's knitting a sweater for my cousin's daughter, but actually more because my aunt asked her to. My aunt was doing it herself, but she kept running into troubles with the pattern. And then she ended up looking at my mom, asking if my mom would be so kind to just knit it. And my mom is like, "Yeah, sure." Because then she has a project to work on. She likes having projects to work on. So that is pretty awesome. And she's doing good after her cataract surgery. She completed both eyes. She also had checkups, and they seem good so far. And now she's waiting for her 6-week checkup That said, she does know that she will definitely need reading glasses. And yeah, right now she just bought some cheap temp ones. I am curious how much of this color we will get to see before it's gonna change and I change yarn. Cake. Um, but we will see. Okay, pattern. Repeat until the center. That is where we are. Now I'm actually quite sure. I'm quite curious if I actually do have 26. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. And I'll do 2 in the center. That's going to be 26. Freaking hell, it matches up. Things are still aligning. What can I say? Things are still aligning up. Chain 1, skip a stitch. All the way to the end. If there are repeating rows in this pattern, yes, there should be later on. It's just until you get to the repeating rows. Because eventually you will start working on the fans, and that is pretty repeating. It's a bit like the ultimate sacrifice. Until you get to when you start fanning out, then it starts really repeating itself. But until you get there, it's a bit of a counting work. I saw that Morbin Design had made a shawl that was reminding me a bit of the Ultimate Sacrifice, and I was like, "Oh, that looks gorgeous too." Um, so maybe that is for the future me. As I said, I may at some stage start this year probably a new Ultimate because I really like the pattern. And once, as I said, once I'm at the fanning section, I don't need to look at the pattern either because it's just automatic for me. Um, so I may option for that. But it's also not defined 100%. This is currently the shawl, so to say, of the year. And I need to finish the WaffleChic Shrug, and I need to finish the Drops Vests that I also have lined up um, before I'm starting to add new projects, because these projects, they are all of those projects we listed in an advent calendar. So Shop My Stash and Advent Calendar, which I think, by the way, was a genius idea of a series. So maybe I'll make a similar one for December this year. So we have the first couple of projects planned out for the next year already just by going through those. So that might be a path that I'd like to explore. I'm never gonna be able to do Vlogmas, I think, because my December generally every year is very busy. I travel a lot in December. Next year I will be a bit more home in December though, because I'm not heading off to Denmark for Christmas unless something happens. But I'm always at least a week that I'm gone in December. So Vlogmas is not something like putting out a video on a daily basis is very difficult for me, or I'll need to start like multiple days in advance. So that's just not seemingly as an option. Okay. Here we are clearly going to do some increases. But that's fine. I haven't made a shawl in a while. I think I make shawls in the summer and hats and scarves in the winter. We do tend to have some of the same things we revert and repeat to. I like mostly to have a shawl going in some capacity, shape, or form, but not always because, like, we had a period where I was really focusing on fleur. Um, this is a shawl that's a big shawl. It's gonna take some time to get through. I don't expect to be done with this one before maybe late spring, begin summer, um, just because I know the next 3 weeks is gonna be extremely hectic for me. Um, so I'll have visitors next weekend. The following weekend, I'm not home, and then I'm off to Denmark, and then I'm again in Germany. So like the first 2.5 weeks of March, I won't be much live because I simply won't have the time. I'm not home. But I am going to try to figure out something for you guys. Chain 3, that was stack double and double crochet in the same stitch. Done. Just gonna add my stitch marker for me to keep track once I get back. And then it is 4 stitches regular. This does feel a bit like the repeat of the the first and second row I did of this color. Like this what I'm doing now feels similar to these 2 rows. And it could be. It could be. Then 2, because when I read it like this, I think they are similar to repeating. Then it is 5 2 times 4. Okay. Times 4. Daily flocking sounds like a lot of work per other challenge. It is a lot of work, because you still need to edit the videos and throw them up. Unless you'll, yeah, no, that is a crap ton of work. I'm not even gonna entertain the thought. I know Kelsey starts her vlogs like 1 or 2 days in advance, so she has a bit of running time. But still, it is a lot of work. I'm not gonna entertain the thought. Would I make a flocking style content other than my yarn talks? I'd be open for it, but only if I did not have my current job. Like if I had nothing else to do, I'd be open for probably doing something along those lines. But I don't think uh, with my current obligations in life and my current job that it is something that I have time to do and that I will have enough content to do either. Two, 4, 5. 1, 2. I need 2 more. Is this your first time making this design? Yep, it is. Not tried it before. Hence why I do convey with the pattern a few times throughout. It's the first time I got inspired by it when I saw Amanda's Ultimate Sacrifice. And I was like, yes, I have to make that pattern one day too. So here we are. That is 2 years later almost. So that is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the first 1, 2, 3. Um, we'll do that again. So that is good. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Done. Done, done, done. Then 19 stitches, double crochets. Easy, one would think. Daily flockers, I want to do it as a full-time job. Exactly, that's my point. I don't. I have a part-time job next to this. Um, so the job I have isn't full-time anymore. I used to work full-time. Um, and just to clarify, I didn't go part-time because I am monetizing YouTube. Nope, because trust me, the money I earn from YouTube is definitely not enough for me to work part-time. Um, based on that alone. But the new job that I got is just part-time plus money-wise, it pays as well as my old did full-time. And I don't necessarily need more. Of course, more is always nice. But the real question is it like, yeah. Um, I have a lot of flexibility, which I think it's far more valuable. And I feel on my personal health that I wouldn't want to work what I used to do, like my old job. I wouldn't want that back. I'm also very optimistic about the fact that things happen for a reason. I don't think I would have had this job if I didn't have had my old job. And I only got my old job because everything kind of locked down during COVID and I needed alternative income sources because I used to be 100% self-employed, not as not as a crocheter, but I did content management, translations, marketing stuff for other people, other companies. And then, um, you know, some of those translation services try matching translations from Dutch to Danish or English to Danish. Um, but they weren't needed because of COVID, because a lot of the companies I was working with were vacation minded companies. So one of them is a big center for vacation houses. But COVID made that people couldn't go to the vacation houses. So at the very first month or two, I had lots of work because I was sending out or I was translating the information with, we have to cancel your vacation and here's a voucher and these are your rights and stuff like that. I also sent out the same similar explanations. I translated similar explanations for emails for a flight company, KLM. KLM is a partner of Delta Airlines for the US. I was translating their content into Danish as well for people that had bought tickets to fly with KLM. But yeah, once that was done and it was COVID full on, I basically almost had no work. So I was broke for at least almost a year. My income during the first year of COVID, it plummeted by about 70%. So 70% of my income was related to travel agencies, etc., travel industry basically. And then they had this job coming along for customer support um, uh, for Discovery Plus for the Olympics in Tokyo. So I did take that, and when that finished 2 months later, they had another opportunity for me. Okay, 19. We need to count 19 stitches. So what did I do here? Oh, it is too different. I was just about to say that's not good, but it is good. Okay. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19. So in this gap, it's time to do something else. And I first started crocheting again halfway through. So the same company who I was doing the customer service for, Discovery Plus, for 2 months during the Olympics, came with this project where I could do customer support for Sonos. And I did that for about 3 years. Now I need to think. 1, 2. No. Yeah. I think I have a stitch too many here. I think I have a stitch too many. Where is the last? Just double. Okay. 2, 4, 6. Right? That's double. Okay. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19. No, it's perfect. Mhm. Oh, I need one more stitch there. That solves it. Right? No, just in that one. I'll pick that one. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so basically that's kind of how it all worked around. When they then moved my job to a different country, I quit and I was unemployed for a bit. And then I got this job, and it's perfect. Nothing more to say. Exactly what I needed. And I don't need to work full time. Um, because I don't need to pay rent because my partner has a house and I live under his roof. And basically, my money is fun money. And my retirement would probably also not be a bad idea. But let's just count these stitches when we get to the end, just to ensure I have those fancy 19. Meanwhile, I have avidly been watching Olympics, so that's absolutely awesome. It's been a great watch. There has been some exciting fights in between, especially speed skating is very popular here in the Netherlands. Okay. So after this, I should have 19. So let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19. I do. Freaking awesome. Then we need two. It's crazy to think that it's almost finished, right? I think they have like closing ceremony or so today. It's strange they decided to build a skating rink at the bottom of a gravity wall. The figure skaters have been having a rough go of it this year. Oh, I have never thought about it, to be honest. But yeah, it's not something that's kind of like broken our news. But of course, the Dutch is not known for being great figure skaters. We are just good at speed skating. That is their specialty. Um, do, 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 do. I don't want this plastic piece to done removed. Mhm. So one complete, but we need a couple of more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and increase. And then I should be increasing again. Yes. Increase. Mhm. A lot of faults this year. Ah, gotcha. Yeah, even the Iliam Manlin or whatever he's called, that's skating for the US, but should like be the world's best male figure skater. And he sounds very Russian by name, or white Russian even, like one of those two. Definitely, he's having some background there. I would say maybe Belarusian. Then we have 4. And then I'm quite sure we are going to close it off with 2. Because that is how we started it. But let's double check. Yep. And now, when I've kind of gotten this far, it says row 13, repeat row 9. Bum. Which I believe is the trebles. Yeah, it's the trebles. So we are gonna repeat this row. Ta-ta. But I'm not gonna do that today. Well, maybe later today, but I don't think so. I have a feeling that I'm not sure how much I'll do today more. But let's have a look at this flat lay. Can almost not see it all. I need to squish it down a bit like this. Look, that's how we look. Oh, this is folded. Ta-ta. So we are actually getting into a part where we're slowly repeating the pattern. So this ridge, which we have here, it'll be repeating out here as well. Ta-ta. For those who want it a bit up closer. As you can see here, we have this back post ridge that helps making a little bit of differentiation in it. I like it. We are still not, but what we can see here is that, my friends, down here, we have the first few changes coming up. So it's not going to be long. We are going to have to change cake, I think. A couple of more rows. But so far, this is just going to go into my project bag like how it is. Because we're not going to do more on it today. I'm just keeping track of my stitch markers like that. Ta-ta! What we did do, we did work a couple of rows on that, and we finished this one. And we calculated that should be enough yarn to make a medium-sized blanket beanie of the rest. So that is what I'm gonna do. And I think that's a project I'm gonna bring with me. I may alternate that pattern a bit and not do the twisted knits. I need to think. Or it could be I do it. Anyhow, we are at the very end of this live. I got all the way to row 13 on the hat collector shawl. We finished at Ripknit Beanie. It's Friday. It is edging up to 5 p.m., which means I need to start getting some dinner made. Definitely because I need to slice out some chicken so we get these chicken strips fried on a pan to go with our fresh salad. So we're doing a mix of salad with salad dressing, cucumbers, tomatoes, everything like nice and fresh bread croutons to go with it. So it's a healthy, I would say, dinner for tonight. Definitely a productive day. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I absolutely love being in your company. It's Friday. That means that I'll be back on Monday. It is a Monday. I should be live. So if everything goes well, I am live again on Monday. I'll be live Monday and Wednesday next week. Friday, you will get a yarn talk video. And the reason for this is that I need to prep and have everything ready for when we are getting visitors, and they are coming Friday afternoon. So I think that's easier just to, and plus that will be an update for the past 3 weeks of what we have been doing. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I had a great time. If you're watching it from the very start to now, thank you so much for your support. It means the world to me. And yeah, take care, and I'll see you either in another live or in another video. Happy crafting. Bye.